What is up, boys? It's Ron from Fantasy Flow. Welcome back to the channel, dude. We're doing the waiver wire. It's week 13 prep, dude, moving forward. These are crucial weeks, but unfortunately, it is a not very crucial waiver wire. It's fucking thin as hell. But we're going to push forward, man. We're going to try to find some value, dude. As I was doing some research for this, I was like, shit, dude. Like, there's really not many players. There's really not much to grab. Like, and you'll see, dude, as we hop into the names. But I figured we're just going to go ahead and open Sleepers Trending tab. I think that's the because it's such a thin waiver wire, bro. I'm not going to hit you up, guys, up with the graphics and the Twitter stats and stuff. It's pretty simple, bro. Like, you have a couple dudes at the top of the list, and I think Devaughn Vele kind of rounds out the wide receivers because number one, he's available. Number two, he actually looks pretty solid, man. So we're gonna open up his game logs. The dude has been pretty involved, right? Like, in the weeks that he plays a serviceable amount of snaps, he's pretty involved in those weeks. So week 6, 62% of the snaps, he goes, 6 targets, 4 for 78, 9 fantasy points. Not bad. What is that? 15 if you're in a fucking PPR, or 13. I can't do math. I don't do public math. But since week 10 against Kansas City, he's been pretty solid, dude. He gets a touchdown against the Chiefs. Pretty impressive for a fucking... By the way, the dude is a 26 going on 27-year-old rookie. And so he's an old rookie. He's kind of like a wily vet at this point as a rookie. And but he's been serviceable, dude. He's this guy that Sean Payton offenses really like. They like these like big slot corners. Think of like a Michael Thomas. He fits that role perfectly, and they've been using him as such, dude. So in week 12 against Vegas, he goes 9 targets, very nice, 6 for 80. So he's got a decent yards per target. He's not just getting like short yardage stuff around the line of scrimmage. He actually gets targeted down the field. He's got a decent burst. He catches things in congested areas. That's something Sean Payton said that they really liked about him. So Devaughn Vele is somebody that I think he leads this wide receiver waiver wire video. He's somebody that I'd pay anywhere from like 10 to 15% of my available fab on him if you're in need. I think Nick Westbrook-Ikhine very similarly. I mean, the man has scored more touchdowns than like your favorite wide receiver. Think of your favorite wide receiver. This man's got more touchdowns. He's got 6 on the season, dude. Insane. Essentially, as I mentioned a couple videos ago, I said if Nick Westbrook-Ikhine plays over 9% of the snaps, he's somebody that we should potentially start. So in week 6 and 7, only plays 22 and 47% of the snaps, but gets a touchdown in both of those games. Not a lot of yardage, not a lot of targets, not a lot of anything, pretty much just gets the touchdown. But I said in about week 8, right? I said if he continues playing 90% after they traded DeAndre Hopkins away, he's somebody we have to take a look at. And if you picked him up when I said that and you've been starting him, you've probably been more often happy than sad. The only week that he kind of had a down week was in week 10 against the Chargers. To be expected, they have a really good defense. Doesn't do shit, only 3 for 31, no touchdown. But other than that, he scored above 10 fantasy points. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is somebody that, dude, if you're in a pinch and, you're down tremendous, he's somebody that you can definitely throw into your starting lineup. They got a decent schedule moving forward. Essentially no tough weeks moving forward. It's Washington, Jacksonville, Cincy, Indy, Jacksonville. So decent little schedule. He seems to be very much involved. But who else is on the list? David Moore, I think he's kind of bait. It's kind of a mirage. He has a decent career of involvement everywhere he's been. And he's playing over 9% of the snaps, but that was not including Jalen Coker. But 10 targets is still 10 targets, man. We cannot just like throw that off the wayside. So 6 for 81 and a touchdown. I mean, goddamn, dude. Every time it seems like it's time for Leggett to start popping off, some fucking bus stop Magoo, random ass dude comes in and pops off, dude. It was Jalen Coker. Then it's David Moore. Next week it's probably gonna be fucking Adam Thielen, bro. So the Xavier Leggett dream is, I think, over, but you should still look his way. He still was decent. He had like 8 fantasy points. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, if he's available, definitely pick him up. He's good for like either, popping off for like 20 fantasy points or doing absolutely nothing, probably getting negative fantasy points. So, but he, you can do worse as a flex. Basically, I do like Marquez Valdes-Scantling over guys like Xavier Worthy, over guys like, at the moment, Amari Cooper. I'd throw, MVS in there instead of him. So Calvin Austin, I think that's bait. He just gets like a late touchdown at the end of the game. Just not involved enough. Only 3 targets, 78 for a touchdown. Adam Thielen's actually somebody I'd look his way. He was pretty involved early on in the game. The Chiefs are kind of dog shit against the slot. And I was expecting a big game from him. He was pretty good early on and did make some big catches as the game progressed. But for the most part, you're going to need more than 4 targets from a guy like Thielen. I guess they all went to fucking David Moore, but, that could change any given week. So Adam Thielen's somebody that you should definitely pick him up, throw him at the end of your bench just to see what happens. Any more names on here that are realistic? I mean, Keenan Allen's not really realistic. Sutton, obviously not realistic. Noah Brown, stay away. You shouldn't be picking up Noah Brown, dude. I know he was involved, 10 targets in week 12, but it's just too inconsistent. Like 14 fantasy points, 8, 4, 0.9, then 10. Like, I think you can do better than that. Yeah, man. Drops, guys that you can probably drop. I mean, Ricky Pearsall, very uninvolved. You can drop him. Deontay Johnson, time to drop him. Baltimore said themselves they don't know how to get him involved. Roshan Johnson, he's really just like a touchdown vulture. Doesn't really get much. But you still need to keep him just in case Swift were to go down. Dylan Laube, the fucking Laube dream was over. Has a big play on special teams, but other than that, gets nothing. And if you can't get onto the field with Ameer Abdullah ahead of you, you're not going to see the field this season. Audric Estime, I think that dream is also over. I picked Audric Estime before he was the new hotness, and I was feeling so good about myself thinking I had like a league winner. Basically, his snap share has gone down every week since 23, then 7%. It's over for him. Jamonte's still the guy. Trey Benson, you could probably drop. He hasn't really done much. He looks okay when he does get opportunities. He's just not getting any. So as a handcuff, you definitely want to pick him up. But other than that, you stay away. Yeah, man. There's also a bunch of handcuffs that you guys should definitely look for just in case. Like, I list them every week in these videos, but Jeremy McNichols, kind of the leader of the handcuff pickup column, because he might start this week. So Brian Robinson gets a look to be very brutal ankle injury, ends up coming back in the game for a couple plays, and then exits again. Seems like he couldn't really play. And you would think, okay, but what about Austin Eckler? Well, he got knocked the fuck out, dude. At the end of that game, tries to return a kickoff and gets laid out, dude. Absolutely laid out. He was sitting there like, it was like an episode of Family Guy, dude. Just his arm behind him twitching. Like, it was brutal, dude. He got absolutely rocked. That's his second concussion on the season. Could be a long extended absence. And with that in mind, that leaves Jeremy McNichols, who, to be honest, has actually looked pretty decent in the run that he has gotten. He had in week 4, where Brian Robinson was out, I believe, goes 8 for 68 and 2 touchdowns. Or no, I'm sorry. Brian Robinson played that game, and at the end of the game, Brian Robinson kind of like is dealing with an injury, and I think it was like a blowout game, so they just end up giving Jeremy McNichols a lot of run. And it goes 6 for 68 and 2 touchdowns, so he actually looked pretty decent. In week 12 against Dallas, only gets 3 touches, turns it into 22 yards, also not bad. He could end up being a starter this week. So if you're in need of a starter, he's somebody that would really be, dropping stacks on if you need a win. Ameer Abdullah, if he does get the start again, is somebody that I don't know if you could start him this week. I mean, they play against Kansas City. Like, we thought the same against Denver. We were like, I don't know if we could start him against Denver. He ends up actually producing. And I don't know, with the quarterback change and the fact that they're playing against Kansas City, whose defense is legit. I don't know if we can start Abdullah. I mean, obviously, if you're fucking down bad, you might have to. But, yep, that's Ameer Abdullah. Next name on the list. Yeah, I mean, there's not much on here, right? Like, running backs, as I mentioned, it's fucking thin, dude. Like, just pick up the handcuffs, man. Anyway, dude, that does it for the video, dude. As I mentioned, it's a very thin waiver wire. There aren't a lot of players at the moment. Gus Edwards, he's kind of a handcuff. Also has a little bit of standalone value. He might be good for like 8 to 10 fantasy points of any given week if he does get into the end zone, obviously. But yeah, that does it. That's it for the video, man. I'm sorry it's not super in depth or thorough. Let me know if there's any names that I might have missed. But for the most part, we're down bad right now. There aren't many names for us to be picking up. So that does it for the video, bro. If you liked the video, I'd appreciate a like. And if you're new here, hit me up with a sub. It would really help the channel. And I'll catch you guys in the next video, man. Peace.